Hey everybody, I'm Matthew. I'm very sorry that I can't be there with you today. I literally started a new job this week here in California, and I wasn't able to get out to join you in Gainesville. I'm going to thank the Trinity Baptist Church and Angela for allowing me to take this video and share it with you so I can share some of my thoughts about Roger. I first met Roger in 1997. I had to look it up. I was 20 years old. I might not have been 20 actually yet at that point, but it was, I met him in 97 because I was buying some motorcycle parts to fix a motorcycle that I had found in the weeds. And I walked up to his shop a couple times and I was like, hey, I need to get spark plugs or I need to get chain. And every time he would greet me, can I help you? In his classic voice. And every time that he saw me that I came up to buy different parts, he's looking at me like, one part at a time, okay. Looking at me like I don't know what I'm doing because I thought I did, but I obviously didn't. Because I spent a couple months working on the motorcycle. I got all the parts that I could imagine and I cleaned it all up. I actually took it all apart. And I was telling him this story every time I would go up to buy something else, and just him shaking his head like, okay. And till finally it was the day to kickstart that motorcycle, and nope, it didn't work. And so I went ahead and I was like, okay, I need to get you a professional to work on this motorcycle. So I can't get it to start. And I don't have a truck or anything, so I figured, what the heck, I'll just go ahead and push it up the hill. Now, if you're familiar with Gainesville, this is Sun Bay Apartments, I think is on 16th, and he was on Depot, and so it's an uphill, and it seemed really uphill, but and in fact, I don't know, it might be a mile or two. So anyway, it was a huge workout in a humid Gainesville day, and pushed it up there, and he just happened to be outside when he sees me pushing that motorcycle toward his shop, and he's just shaking his head like, oh boy. And oh, funny. Anyway, yeah, so I pushed it up to the parking lot of the shop, and he's looking at it, and he's like, I know this bike. And he goes, it's a ragamuffin. I'm sure if you knew Roger, you knew the words that are all stuck in my head, and I haven't heard them in years and years now. But the point is that he says, look, take off the carburetors. And I was like, okay. So I took off the carburetors, and but I didn't know what to do. And so I'm sitting there like, just holding the carburetors like a fool, and he's doing 100 other things in the shop. And he's like, take off the float bowls and do all the things, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, okay. So I start taking out screws, and I'm nervous because this is the stuff I don't know about. And lo and behold, they were gunky and nasty, and I was like, And he goes, yeah, you gotta clean them out. And he starts showing me how to do it. I was like, okay, all right, well, that's fine. So then I'm cleaning them up, and I do all the things, and I spray it all off, and I put it back together while he's doing all the other things. And then I just go ahead and put him on the motorcycle. And lo and behold, I'm just like, okay, started right up. I was like, wow, oh my gosh. Couldn't believe it. There were some issues with it, but whatever. Point is that I was like, okay, I know what I need to buy now and all this other stuff, but how much is this gonna cost me? And Roger's like, well, if you come back tomorrow, there's a bunch more sitting over there and you can do the rest. And that is how I became Roger's helper at the Depot Road shop back in 1997. And just so many good memories, a lot of hard work. But one of the really cool things that I just wanted to share was that, that time working in the motorcycle shop, I was going to college and I went to grad school, and, and even as I think back to it too, is all of the jobs I've ever had. I've worked on an airplane, I've worked on cell phones and cameras, and every job that I've ever had, all of the stuff that I went to school for, some of the most valuable and productive lessons that I've ever learned were during my time being Roger's helper in that shop. And that was one of the real things I wanted to share in this video, is that share with you all, was that Roger had a major impact on my life. And a lot of people know about Roger because so my nickname online and elsewhere is Motorbike Matt. Now, I don't ride a motorcycle today, but I did for years and years, and before, or not before, but certainly after I worked at Roger's shop. But everybody knows me, in spite of the fact that I'm not a rider today, as Motorbike Matt, because of that era of my life where I was working on and riding motorcycles thanks to Roger. And so when a lot of people ask me, is like, well, why do you have that name, or why is that your nickname? And I was like, well, I have to tell the story that I just told you now. And I tell this story, and I tell other stories. For example, when I would be running around the shop like, oh my gosh, there's so many customers coming in and all these other, I got this task to do and I got to clean the carburetor, and he's looking over at me while I'm doing my thing. And he's like, maintain, you need to maintain, you need to slow down. You're going too fast. Just do it right. Don't put things together too fast and you have to do it all over again. You're going to break something, blah, blah. I'm sure you all can hear his voice. And so one of the big lessons that I learned then, with Roger, that I remind myself a lot is maintain, that I need to slow down. A lot of times I've moved too fast, I move too quickly, and when I catch myself doing something, not thinking all the way through, or not thinking, far ahead, I'm reminded literally of his voice in my head that I have to maintain, that I have to slow down. And so that's something that I carry with me every day. Another thing that I learned from Roger was that, a lot of times I like to think, or at least I did, I was a cocky young man and little boy, and I would be the smartest man in the room sometimes, the smartest person in the room. I was like, oh yeah, I know how to do all this, blah, blah, blah. And by golly, I can't tell you how many times I would have to eat my hat with Roger, because I'm like, oh, it must be this. And he goes, oh God, no, it's not that. It's this. And I'm like, oh, okay. And so that was really helpful to learn as a teenager and early 20-year-old, to kind of really pick up very quickly that no, you may think you know what's going on with any complicated problem. It doesn't matter if it's a motorcycle or if it's a computer program or whatever. And it's like, don't jump to a conclusion too quick. Stop and think and try to figure it out, and really, use your head. And that was another valuable lesson that, my parents, they did as good a job as they could with me, but that was something definitely with the practical experience of like, oh, that might hurt, or that might cause somebody else to get hurt. That was a level of awareness and respect for making sure you do a good job. And that was something I still take away from Roger to this day. One of the other very valuable things that I learned from Roger was to let somebody else do the electrical for a motorcycle. That's a joke, but it's true. I just wanted to crack a joke to make myself laugh, because this is such a sad moment for me, for missing out on Roger and not being there and not being able to see him, because I was actually hoping to try to see him, not hoping, I was planning to see him in January. I have to drive down to see my mom in Florida, in Homestead, Florida, and I was gonna really kind of stop by and surprise him last minute, and I'm really disappointed that I wasn't able to do that. But I am grateful that because of his persistence in trying to reach out to me, and thank you, Jason, for making sure I actually knew that he was calling me, because I didn't know. But I was able to talk to him for the last couple months, and we had some pretty regular conversations. And I was actually, I'm very grateful that I was able to tell him of the level of impact that he's had on my life to this day. I'm 47 now. That was a long time ago. And yeah, so I just wanted to make sure that I shared that with everybody too. Yeah, There's so many people that I've talked to that know about Roger. And for a guy who, I don't know, I don't know if he fully recognizes the reach that he had. There's so many people, I mean, thousands of people who know the story of Roger Sanderson. And not just my immediate family and friends, but a lot of people that I work with in so many different places and eras of my life. And so that's really cool. That's really cool. Roger's reach reached out further, much further than he could with his hands and his arms. And so, and I hope the family and all your friends actually know that. It's important for me to share that with you. That's all I can really come up with right now without getting too emotional. But Roger was very special to me. I know he was special to all of you. Debbie, Angela, and Jason, I'm really sorry for your loss, and for everybody else there too. I share with you the pain of losing Roger, and the joy of knowing Roger, to keep it optimistic, the joy of knowing Roger, and know that my mom, Marilyn, my partner Amanda now, my ex-girlfriend, my girlfriend at the time, Denise, she knows, my brother Mark, all these people in my life that I've told about the passing of Roger, all of them want to make sure that I express to you, the family, that they also offer their condolences. So many people know Roger. So many people. I'll stop rambling now. Thank you all for letting me do this today. And again, my condolences